Your first girlfriend's father is quite a scary figure when you're in your early teens. Mine certainly was, chasing me down the back lanes in his mid-70s blue minivan, blowing the horn as I pedalled for all I was worth on my Rally a Keep 12-speed racing bike, airing round blind bends, the road slick with cow shit, and praying the farmer wasn't coming the other way on his tractor. I popped out of the lanes onto the bottom of the estate I grew up on and shot up my mate Stu's driveway, throwing the bike down and legging it up off his garden. Ivan clearly wasn't happy. Having taken my girlfriend home via Backy on the old push McCumbler, I was saying goodbye with a kiss and a cheeky bottom squeeze just as he swung into the bungalow's drive in his van. The resultant, "Oi, I want a word with you," I took as possibly hostile and made off. My hurried route of escape had been spotted, and I was confronted by Ivan and Stu's mum, arms folded, plus Stu trying desperately not to laugh as I got hauled from behind his garden shed for a roasting, the upshot of which was to keep away from Ivan's daughter or I would get pummeled. Of course, I totally ignored this, as any hormone-crazed teenager would. Some years and several girlfriends later, whilst I was in the motorcycle breaking trade, I got word via Ivan's son Wayne that his father had a bike he wanted to sell for spares. Wayne and I used to go playing pool at a rural pub a few miles away back then. He rode a Suzuki GT185, and I would catch a lift down there with him on the bike, cue case in one hand and hanging on with the other. Eventually, the Suzuki blew a big end, and I broke it up for spares after giving a peppercorn amount for it. My old mate Nick and I turned up as requested at Ivan's, and were pleasantly surprised when he creaked the old shed door open behind his bungalow to reveal a Yamaha RD400. The bike was an unfinished project. Someone had crafted a fiberglass skin piece that fitted over the petrol tank and made up the seat and tail end. Expansion chamber exhaust had the two-stroke twins sounding meaty as Ivan fired it up. The bike had no brakes, as both calipers were in a bucket of parts to come with it. Eventually, £150 cash was parted with, and we wheeled the Yamaha back down the lanes and into my parents' garage. A few days' toil got the brakes working, and Nick gave it a try on a test ride, coming back with a ridiculous grin which didn't leave his face for some hours. I put the word out it was for sale. One morning soon after, I was lurking outside Paul Arker, the motorcycle dealer's yard, with half an idea to offer it to him, when a crew of lads turned up with a Suzuki AP50 in blue for sale. Paul, as usual, was missing in action somewhere, and as we waited, talk was swapped, and I told them of the Yamaha RD400. 250 quid, if it was to go that day. This was obviously a winner, and they followed me back to our house on the estate. Much chin rubbing and cheek puffing resulted in 150 quid and the Suzuki AP50, still MOT'd and taxed, moving into the garage. By the end of that summer, I convinced Nick's brother he really needed it in his life, and the little Suzuki went on its way. I ended up buying it back a few years later to break for parts. With the 1990s rolling towards their conclusion, Ivan rang me out of the blue. He had a scrap vehicle to get rid of. Could I pop down? In the intervening years, he had bought the field next to his bungalow, and I was led to the boggy bottom corner of which to be confronted upon pulling up a tarp with the rusty remains of the blue minivan he had chased me around in about a decade or so earlier. A gift, if I wanted to extract it. Sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? Well, it was. In an ideal world, one would have waited to try and move the minivan during June or July. Any time really that the field would not have been quite so Somme-like. Ivan wasn't going to stand for any of that, though. It was midwinter, but he wanted it gone. No chance of using a lorry, so our faithful Fordson Major with mill loader and Weeks tipping trailer were employed for a 3 mile each-way trundle. Balaclava and heavy coat donned, the chilly trip was embarked upon. I dumped the trailer in the lane outside his bungalow with a cone behind it, and squelched off down the field on the tractor. The further along the hedgerow I drove, the deeper my old Fordson's wheels sank in. The minivan was pretty much on its belly in the mud, tyres all popped and flat. Despite not being very heavy, it was its location that was making things difficult. I hooked a chain to the loader and front of the car, trying to reverse it away, but only had the Major's rear wheels spinning doing this. Turning around and pulling forward got it moving, but the van dropped into the tractor's huge ruts behind and the chain ripped the rusted front subframe to dust. I then had to turn around again, lift the front of the van out clear of the mess with the loader before rigging up and trying another pull. This time we got to the top of the field. Now with little room to manoeuvre, I had to shove the loader under the van's rotten sills, put a chain across around the opposite side for it to lift evenly and load onto my trailer. What a bloody game of soldiers this was. The quaint rural back lane at this point suddenly became as busy as it had ever been in years, so to speak. Every time I edged the precariously placed minivan out through the gate, hanging off the tractor's loader, yet another vehicle had Ivan waving me back in. Thankfully, the perpetual Land Rovers, horse boxes, and knobs on push bikes passed by without incident, and I got it on board, only to then have the chain get stuck. Now this lane was totally blocked. In a fit of rage, I grabbed Ivan's hatchet from his log pile, broke the van's windscreen, and hacked through the top of the rotten A-pillars in order to free off my chain. Then recoupled the trailer in the dusky half-light, leaving Ivan peering at the multiple tractor ruts that were now his paddock. I didn't have any other deals with Ivan, but as the years went by, I would notice him working on various British bikes on his driveway as I passed. I heard recently that he is no longer with us, which is a shame, as I always meant to call in and have a chat about the old RD400 and minivan incidents, those all now so very long ago. If you've managed to stay awake this deep into my video, then why not check out the channel's excellent merchandise shop? Smart designed t-shirts for lying under your lorry in, scrapyard saying mugs for when you're shed dwelling and chin stroking with all the other fellas. Feeling rough as a badger's? Why not treat yourself to an excellent jigsaw with a scrap lorry on it? There's 1,000 pieces of joy to stave off watching daytime television. Have you got caught with your tractor cylinder head in the dishwasher again? Buy this excellent rust-killed shopping bag for your clothes after the missus throws you out. All available at And Your Point Is shop. The link on the screen now. Hello there. Thank you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed this one, I'd like to see a few more, then please like, share and subscribe. It really helps me out with the channel. All the best to you, and do take care.